President Mnangagwa has arrived in Shenzhen, China for a state visit ahead of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation (FOCAC) to be held in Beijing. The president is expected to visit two other provinces after Shenzhen before attending the FOCAC. Earlier on, we crossed over to Zimbabwe's correspondent Fungi Kwaramba, and he gave us the following report.
President Mnangagwa has arrived in China's technology hub city of Shenzhen in Guangdong province for a business stopover ahead of his state visit. The president, who is accompanied by the government ministers and other top government officials, is also expected to visit the city of Changsha in Hunan province and Nianxing in Jiangsu province. After the business engagements, the president will head to Beijing, the political capital of China, for a state visit. The president will later on join other heads of state and government for the triennial Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, from the 4th to the 6th of September.
We now cross over to Andy Hodges, who joins us live for a conversation on what this means for Zimbabwe. Andy Hodges is of course the head of business here at ZTN Prime. Andy, good evening and thank you for joining us. The big question is, now that of course the president has of course arrived in China for that visit, and then from there he then of course gets to actually attend the FOCAC, which is a significant event not just for Zimbabwe, but for the continent at large. Now, given that China is also the biggest investor in Zimbabwe, what does this mean for the Zimbabwean economy?
I think one thing is clear, that China has been one of Zimbabwe's greatest friends over the last couple of years, particularly when there were no investors coming into the country was under sanctions, there were no lines of credit, and basically everyone was pulling out of Zimbabwe. China did not. They actually put more investment into Zimbabwe. So it's very clear that one of the major issues on the president's agenda when he does his state visit and eventually goes to a forum on China-Africa cooperation is to deepen the ties between China and Zimbabwe. Now, what can China give us, or how can we expand our cooperation? Well, obviously, technology is critical. Technological transfer is critical, because one thing that Zimbabwe needs to do and SADC needs to do is to industrialize, which means to value add. China has the technology, it has the equipment, it has the know-how. And if that technology transfer can be brought across to Zimbabwe, that will benefit us to no end. There's other issues, of course, that we can look at. One of them, of course, is housing, talking about building construction, and all these issues that China are very good at that we can learn from. I think what Zimbabwe needs to do, of course, is be open-minded, understand that the Chinese obviously want to do business in Zimbabwe. We need their technology and we need their investment. So whatever we do has got to be a win-win situation.
Konapo, ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.